is going on, everybody? We have probably the last interview of the day. We are still here in Atlanta, Georgia, DevNexus for Boast Mode, brought to you by TuxCare. And I brought on a buddy of mine. Brad, why don't you introduce yourself? Tell us what you're all about. Tell us where you work. What is your bag?
My bag. My bag's over there with a bunch of shirts
right
and swag in it.
Chilling on our table.
Yeah.
One of our tables.
So my name's Brad Wood, and I work for a company called Ortus Solutions. I live in Kansas City, home of the Chiefs. And
KCO or KCK?
I live on the Kansas City, Kansas
Oh,
side,
you're on the KCK
but we
side.
both claim the Kansas City Chiefs.
Okay.
You know, because a lot of people don't know there's two Kansas Cities. There's Kansas City, Kansas City, Missouri. You know, but it's all kind of one big metro. But we're all a remote team. So we've got people in the U.S., we got people in El Salvador, got people in Europe, and we all just collaborate together. Lots of Zoom calls. Yeah, I've been doing development since the late 90s, I guess. I went to college, started learning programming stuff in like 98. And so we do just a lot of open source tooling, consulting, just developer community kind of stuff, managing pull requests, and just doing support for stuff. We're here at the conference because we have a booth for Boxlang, which is a new dynamic JVM language. My hat is currently running on Boxlang. I have a little Raspberry Pi in my backpack.
I saw this back. I'm like, what is going on?
Yeah, it's got some shady electronics going on in here. There's some soldered circuits I'm always afraid to fly with, but it's just a fun example of doing some CLI scripting with our JVM language. We're just hanging out. We're just basking in the glow of the giant Java ecosystem and figuring out what's new, what's hot, all the AI buzz that's going on, and. Yeah, it's fun. It's interesting. We've talked a lot recently about what makes sense to use for AI, what doesn't make sense. There's some people that don't want to do anything in AI. There's some people that are like, I don't even write code anymore. AI does it all. And the models have been changing so much. In the past 2 years or so since we've been trying to do a lot of agentic stuff. Yeah, I mean it's kind of crazy, and I can't even keep track of all the models. I've been using a lot of the Claude Opus and stuff, but I know there's a million different models. But the productivity has changed a lot as far as how successful it is. Used to be a couple years ago, cool, get this Copilot thing, write me some code. And it would throw some code in, and I'd be like, that doesn't even compile, right? But now it's got to a point where it can run tests, it can run commands, it can build my project. I can give it a test suite and say, this is what I want you to do. Don't finish until all these tests pass. And it'll sit there and crank, and the token usage just climbs and climbs. But it's a fun time to try to figure out what will my job in the future be? Will I just be managing AI agents? Will the pendulum swing back a bit and people are like, wait, this code is crap. We need more humans in control. I don't know, but we really kind of dug into AI a lot when we started working on Boxlang, which is a brand new language. We started from scratch, and we're like, man, we got to learn a bunch of crazy stuff.
Yeah.
How do you parse with Antler? How do you write bytecode with the ASM library? And so we were trying to figure out what does it look like to have an AI agent that maybe is more helpful than annoying, because sometimes it can be really annoying.
Right.
And I might start cussing at Claude or ChatGPT sometimes. I'm like, no, it's not what I asked you to do. You're not paying attention. It's what does it look like to actually be productive with it, and as opposed to doing something through AI and be like, what, I could have done that myself actually, and it would have taken less time. But a year from now, will that still be the case, or will it be twice as fast?
I haven't jumped on the AI train yet. I've been a developer for 30 years. I still write all my own code. I might just have ChatGPT or Claude or Gemini spin up a scaffold for me that I can use instead of npm x install this. But besides that, I find myself using AI more just to explain concepts and break down function calls or anything like that instead of having it write all my stuff. But now I've been hearing that it doesn't matter how the code looks anymore. So the software, craftspersonship has kind of gone out the door. Nobody cares anymore what the code looks like.
I don't know if that's entirely true. I don't know if that's entirely true. But yeah, I understand what you're saying. I mean, we were talking today about you might have AI write something that works on the surface, but it may not perform well, or it may not be manageable. But you're right. There's a lot of uses just if you want to bounce ideas off of it, because creating a language, we're saying we want to have a construct that does something like null coalescing or a match construct or switch as an expression. Give me other languages that have precedent and tell me how they work so I can make an informed decision, which I think can be a good use case for it. But dealing with like the hallucinations, I love this phrase, AI hallucinations, has been like, a huge issue when we first started using it, and be like, oh, I'm integrating with the Java library, I'll go ask Claude how to do this, and it would just like make up answers,
right.
And I would be like super disappointed. I'm like, you just invented a completely fictitious method call. Like, what are you doing? And then it would apologize. It would be like, oh, I'm so sorry, I made that up. But this method, this is the one you want. And I go look, and I'm like, that method doesn't exist either. And it'd be like, oh, I'm so sorry, I invented that method too. So we kind of joke sometimes that an agent can be like a junior developer that you can give like a well-defined task to, and it can do something that's tedious, but we're still figuring out like I don't trust it to think a lot. But it's getting to a point where using like Copilot and VS Code, I can tell it, yeah, you can run commands, on my operating system, but the other day I was doing that, and I told it, yeah, clear the classes folder, and it deleted the wrong folder, and I was like, whoa, back up, Claude,
Sure.
my boy,
Reset, bud.
my boy, what are you doing? You're scaring me. You're not supposed to make mistakes like this. So yeah, you gotta figure out like what does it look like? What kind of boundaries do you have? What kind of environments, like a code space or whatever, can you let it work in? We like doing stuff now just using like in GitHub. We can create a ticket, tag Copilot, and say, can you work on this ticket? And it goes off and it cranks for a while and it creates a pull request, and it can't hurt anything there, right? It can't delete random folders off my hard drive. I can come back and I can look at it and I'd be like, okay, this is close. And as long as maybe I have some time to let it crank, go do something, myself asynchronously and come back, it's been a lot to play around with. Anyway.
So your talk, did you talk today or are you talking tomorrow?
I'm talking tomorrow.
What's your talk about?
Okay, so my talk is about Boxlang, basically just why we created it, what we wanted to solve, why make a new language, why would you use this language, what was the goal, and just, how did we do it, and what kind of stuff have we added to it that we think makes it productive and fun to program in, and, what did that look like? So
that's awesome.
It's going to be tomorrow after the keynote.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool. So like 10 o'clock-ish, somewhere?
Yeah, it's at 10 in
cool.
room 305.
Gant's doing a keynote at 9, I think, and then...
They don't leave a lot of time.
Nah,
they leave like 1 hour and they gotta dash to the 10 o'clock. But yeah.
Well, that's awesome. That's awesome. We're all here for community. We were talking about community earlier.
Sure.
What does community mean to you?
I love that. So our company for the past 20 years has basically been like an open source tooling company, right? We started out with our very first library. It was an MVC framework called Coldbox, and we kind of just like started adding to it. We made a testing library and we called that TestBox, and we made a caching library and it was CacheBox, and everything just ended in box, which is why when we decided we're going to make our own dang language, we're like Boxlang, right? But what really helped those work, especially when our company started and it was just our CEO and myself, was the pull requests, the community, the forums, the support, because we're offering professional services around all these things, but the average person is just using it for not paying any money. And when they have a question, they go post on the discourse or on Slack or on Twitter, and having a community where someone asked a question, and sometimes before I see it, other people have jumped in who are just normal users, and they were like, hey, I think I ran into this, here's a link to the docs, here you can work around it. I think it really helps a product kind of take off, or an ecosystem take off in a way that just one person or a handful of people that are official maintainers don't have the bandwidth. And getting to a point which can take a while to get people to a point where they're willing to, not willing, but in a place to give back to a project. There's a feature they want, there's a bug they want to see fixed. You have to really facilitate the mindset of encouraging people, hey, can you try to send me a pull request? And maybe it's simple, like, hey, your docs are slightly wrong, or like, hey, it's a markdown file in GitHub, can you send me a pull request? And there's a lot of tools that make that easy. And I think when you get to the point where you have a flow of people wanting to help contribute, it really becomes larger than yourself and larger than just your team. And I love community. I love the spaces where people can come and even just have discussions about like what's the best way to program this. Does anybody have ideas for a tool? And that all kind of becomes part of that community that builds your ecosystem. And I think it makes it much richer than just a couple people managing a library, but it's people all having input into it. And it takes work. I think any developer has tried to contribute has probably tried to contribute to a project where they go through a bunch of work, and they submit a pull request, and it just sits there for like a year, and it can turn you off. And I get it. It's a lot of work. Like, you're busy, and someone has some pull request, and you got to go look at it. But in my opinion, it's something you have to do because the community will die out quickly. People won't attempt to contribute back if their contributions aren't welcomed more than maybe once or twice, and they're going to be like, my time is more valuable. So it's something you have to foster, to help build, and when you get momentum, I think it really multiplies. It's kind of a force factor,
Yeah, it's a force multiplier.
Yeah,
sure.
that's the phrase.
I love that answer. I love the community vibe. I just feel the community vibe coming off. That's what I do for a living.
Love it. I mean, tell you, one of the coolest things is when you can go to a conference and someone comes up to you and says, "Hey, I use your tool every day and it's great."
Yeah,
it's the best feeling ever.
It is one of the best feelings. Just anything like that. It just fills you with so much joy. So, before we end it, is there anything that you want to plug for the audience? You're the last one of the day. Talk tomorrow. Anything else?
Just go check out Boxlang. Go to boxlang.io. It's a new dynamic JVM language. We've got tons of modules, built-in functionality. It's a functional language, super dynamic. It's fun to develop in. You can scaffold up MVC sites. You can do AI integration, AWS Lambdas, serverless. You can power cool hats with it. It's a fun language to go dig into, and we've got a whole bunch of online community you can jump into if you have questions. So
appreciate the time, Brad. Thank you so
Absolutely.
much. With that, we are out. Catch us tomorrow on this stream. Check all the socials, then the rest of YouTube. Check out the Twitter, and we will be back tomorrow at DevNexus. We are out.